Yes, some suffragettes were also in the fascist movement. Let's talk about it. As always, this is only for Britain. I know nothing about suffrage movements in other countries. So first off, it is a little bit ahistoric to say some suffragettes were fascists, because the suffragette movement and the fascist movement didn't exist at the same time. The suffragette movement really ends in 1918 when the first women get the vote, whereas the British fascist movement is at its height in the 1930s. There weren't any women who were suffragettes and fascists at the same time. But in my reading, I have found two that went on to become fascists. That doesn't mean there weren't more, these are just two prominent ones. This is Mary Allen and Mary Richardson, who said of the fascist movement that she found the courage, the action, the loyalty and the ability to serve that she had known in the suffragette movement. I don't know exactly what my takeaway from that quote is, but it definitely says something about the way Emmeline Pankhurst was running her outfit, that Mary Richardson thought, this is just like being in the black shirts. These days we might think of women's suffrage as kind of a lefty liberal thing, but people all over the political spectrum supported it. There were also socialists like Julia Kerr and Sylvia Pankhurst, who went on to become a communist. And that makes me have very complicated feelings, because I generally agree with what the suffragettes did and I think they were correct, and yet if I'd been one, I would have been standing shoulder to shoulder with women who went on to become fascists. You've also got to be really careful when you're talking about stuff like this, because a lot of women are going to get really defensive about it, especially if you're a bloke, because what they're going to be thinking is, why are you bringing this up? Does that mean you don't think the suffragettes were right? Does that mean you want to roll back women's right to vote? And that might seem like an irrational fear to you, but it is a real one. Anyway, if you want to talk way more about my complicated feelings about the suffrage movement, I have a whole tour called Votes for Women where we really get into it. Check the link in my bio.